Good afternoon. It is a lovely day here in Virginia. I hear yard work going on and all kinds of things. So, yes, I know I said I'm going to take the rest of the week off. I'm not going to do any more. I've already done 3 this week. Well, I'm apparently a masochist. So I have me some delicious coffee. Today being April 3rd, I decided to do the April 3rd pattern. This is called the Twisted Check Pattern. It says it's a multiple of 8 plus 5. So that means that you're going to do 8, 16, 24, 32. And then add on 5 more stitches after you finally get all of that cast on. Then the odd row sides are going to be they have some interesting things going on. This I had to actually go online and learn a new stitch, how to purl through the back loop. I already knew how to knit through the back loop, but I didn't know how to purl through the back loop. So I got to learn something new today, and I was excited. But this is what the stitch looks like on a larger swatch. Now I took my worsted weight purple yarn. That's the back side. Here's the front side. This is worsted weight purple, and this is a size 7. You can't see. These are size 7 straights. This particular brand is by Boye, B-O-Y-E, and it's perfectly fine for doing a swatch. I cast on. There's a lot of stitches. It looks like on here. I cast on 32 stitches, so 8 times 4. And then I added another 5 because it says to add 5, so that would make you 37. And then I had 2, hi Tiffany, and then I added 2 stitches to the ends. And that's for my border because I don't like things curling all over the place, so I do a garter border around. So I cast on a total of 37, 39, 41 stitches for this swatch, so it would be easy to see the pattern. You can do any number, multiples of 8. You could do this with much larger needles and much larger yarn. I don't know how the stitch definition would look on a bulkier weight. But you could use this stitch could be used in a lot of different things, and it's fun just to practice a different stitch. All right, so how to do the twisted check pattern. Well, I cast on my 41 stitches and I knit just 2 rows this time. You can do 4, I just did 2. So then when I got back to this side, I started with the first row, because I ended with a knit. So your first row is to purl. So what you want to do is, of course, because these 2 stitches are our border, just knit them, because they're just knit. The 2 end stitches are always knit when you're doing a border like that. And then we do our purl stitch, which you should remember how to do from our earlier ones. And if you don't remember, I do have all these live streams that I've done so far up on my Mistress of the Knit YouTube. You can just hi Smechu. You can just go there and look at them if you don't want to do it on Facebook. Otherwise you can search my timeline, but it's kind of a pain in the butt, so that's why I was trying to consolidate them into one thing, the Mistress of the Knit, which is a clever name that my beautiful husband came up for me. I'm supposed to be making Smatchu a coronavirus amigurumi, and I haven't done that yet. I should do that. Yo, Brenny, how you doing? Now I decided on a smaller needle today just to show you how that's different. It's a tighter fabric than what I have been doing with those size 11s. Now the second row, which we're coming up to, gets a little funky, and I will type this out, I think, in the description on the YouTube. because it's kind of a fun one to do, especially when you learn a new stitch. I'll also be doing a crochet stitch on here. Now this particular pattern, the twisted check pattern, is a 10 row repeat. So this is row 1. When you get to the last, so you've got the last 2 stitches, and you want to knit those because they're not actually part of the pattern. All right, so we have purled that. So it's we're creating that stockinette. So it's going to be, there's going to be purl and knit. You know, knit the knit stitches, purl the purl stitches. All right, so for row 2, let's get our border knit. Now it tells us to knit 1. Okay, so it doesn't count those. So knit 1. And then we have to purl the next 3 stitches through the back loop and then knit 5. So we pull our yarn forward as if we're going to, I'm going to see if I can lift this up a little bit. Hi, Gabriel. I see your beautiful face on there. Okay, so hopefully you can see a little bit better. All right, that looks better. Okay, so we're going to pull the yarn forward as if to purl, but we're not going in the normal way. Instead, you're going to go into the back. Here's the back of the loop. And not go this way, you're going this way. Let's see if I can get to do it. There we go. You're going in that way. Okay. So on the front side, so you can actually, so it looks like you're doing like this. And you're going to yarn over, pull it through. That was a little interesting, so watch again. You're going into the back side of the stitch. Okay. Yarning over just like you would for purling. And then pulling it off. So it's creating these interesting little ridges. Okay, we're supposed to do that 3 times. And it's really a lot easier than you think it is. If I can just get it to, I was going in the wrong stitch. That's what, wrong part of the stitch. See, even those of us who've done this a while and practiced this still can screw up. There we go. Pull it through. All right, so that's our 1, 2, 3. And then we're supposed to knit 5. 5. So that's what it's going to look like. It's in the middle of that 5 stitch here that you see. We're doing this. I need to take a sip of coffee here. And we have to do that all the way across. So we've done our 5 knit. So gum forward again, and we're doing 3 purl from behind, from the back loop. Can you hear the neighbor kids running around in their house being all silly? The boys have almost got all their homework done for the day. Well, Isaac's all done. Brendan just has to finish up some questions, I think. Dealing with economics. Or, no, it's not history. I think it's his econ. Okay. And then knit 5. 1, 2. How's Gabriel feeling today? 3, 4, 5. Make sure you move them down, and make sure the one thing you got to be careful of is tension. Make sure you're not knitting so tight that you can't get your needle in there. Okay, so we did our 5, so we've got to move our yarn forward again. Oof. Oh, that's right. You guys are doing those workouts. And here's my happy butt sitting here knitting and crocheting because you know what? I'm comfy. I should be for my health, though, working out more. And don't be afraid to use your fingernails to get in there and move the yarn around a little bit. Our ancestors, I'm sure, did it too, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Come on. And that's what I mean by be sure you're not knitting too tight, because if you knit too tight, you can't get that needle in there, and then you're going to be cursing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's creating an offset, which is an interesting look. All right, so it looks like we're at the, see, sometimes it wants to cooperate with me very nicely. And other times, not so much. There's a lot of fiber artists I've seen, like on Instagram and stuff, who are doing beginning knitting and crocheting, and I really love seeing that. It's nice to know that there are people who want to share their love of the fiber arts in such a way that, you know, and they might have better setups than what I have. In fact, I think a lot of them do. Okay, so we are at, got our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're getting to the end. Here's our 2 that don't count. Now what they have here is when you get to the last 4 stitches, you purl through the back loop for these 3 and then knit 1. Okay? So bring your yarn forward and knit 1, or excuse me, purl 1. I don't have any fingernails, that's why it's kind of a pain. 2. And there's 3. Okay. And then knit 1. When I was originally doing this, I was listening to Minnesota's Most Notorious, then we knit our last 2. And it was learning about the Virginia Piper kidnapping. And I knew about, you know, Piper Jaffray because I used to work downtown in Minneapolis. So I had heard of the company Piper Jaffray, but I had not ever known anything about the family. I mean, I'm not a native Minnesotan, so of course, how would I know that? And it was interesting because in '72, Virginia Piper was kidnapped right out of her backyard. And that was, you know, a 2-day kind of ordeal going on. Okay, so we have row 3. So let's knit our first 2. Now this one is purl 1, knit the next 3 through the back loop, purl 5. So it's kind of a reverse of what we just did. So purl 1, done. Now we're going to knit through the back loop. To knit through the back loop is to go into the back of the loop, and I've shown you this one before. Yarn over, pull it through. Okay? So once again, you go through. Oh, I got the yarn in the wrong place. Gotta be careful. Ignore any cries you hear from my children. He's just weird. 2. And 3. Okay, we've knit 3. Now we've got to purl 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So on the back side, you've got some reverse stockinette going here and some interesting look. You'll definitely be able to tell which is the right side and which is the wrong side, because the right side will have more of the stockinette appearance. Oh, the pollen is so bad. Okay, so we did our purl 5, so now we've got to once again knit through the back loop. Get my big old fingers out of the way so you can see. There's 1. Oh, for the love of Pete, because I have to hold it funny. 2. But if you are a podcast person and you like podcasts, check out Minnesota's Most Notorious. A lot of them, he does our old cases from the turn of the century and that sort of thing. He also does interviews with authors of books about things that have happened in the state of Minnesota. So it's really fascinating podcast if you like those at all. I use the Podbean app. It's free. I listen to J.W. Walker. He's the creator of Odd Things I Have Seen, or Otis, which is, it's really cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, then knit through the back loop. 1, 2, come on, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It does make a somewhat stretchy fabric, which is nice. If you're looking for something for like a kid's jacket or whatever, it has a lot of stretch and it's cute to look at. 5, so then knit 1, 2, and 3. When you get familiar with the stitches, you'll notice that there is a logic to it. And it's really quite fascinating to watch the construction of the fabric. Okay, so we're in our last, not cutting those, 1, 2, 3, 4. So just like the last one, we're going to knit through the back loop and then purl. 1. Come on. 2. I feel like I'm not able to show you as clearly as I would like how to do that knit through the back loop. But I have shown it before on the bigger needles. No, I can't remember what session I did it in though. It may have been the knit back and forth, I'm not really sure. Anyway, okay, so that was round 3. Okay, so now we're on to round 4. Oh, actually, no. Now that I look at the pattern again, this is actually the back side. This is the front side. I did not realize that. I'm so used to the regular stockinette, you're looking at a reverse stockinette. Well, that's really cute. It really does this neat, almost a braid look. Okay, so now we're on row 4, which is the wrong side, and it says to repeat row 2. So that means that we're going to do the exact same thing we did in row 2, which is to knit our first 2 stitches, and then you knit 1, purl in the next 3, purl through the back loop in the next 3, and then knit 5. So I'm going to repeat that row. Okay, so there's my garter border. Okay, and then there's my knit 1. Now I'm going to purl through the back loop. If you hold your needle kind of at an angle, sometimes that can help you get in there. It's twisting the yarn in a specific way. And ow, for the love of pity sake. Okay. I can do this. Well, it helps if I have the purl, the yarn purl-wise. That helps. There we go. Ha-ha! Success! I made it do my bidding. And all right, then knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. So when I knit and crochet, I tend to watch repetitive things that I've seen or heard many times, because I just want something in the background while I am working. Now, the one thing I've found, however, is that I get very distracted if it's something I've never heard before or seen. So I try to put in things that I have seen a lot of and that I enjoy. Hi, Mindy. And so I tend to, of all things that I watch, one of them is Batman Beyond the Animated Series. I enjoy the voice acting. I love Kevin Conroy as Batman. He always has brought me a lot of joy just listening to him do it. And Mark Hamill, when he does his Joker, now that's the original animated series, mind you, Batman. But when he does that Joker, Mark Hamill was my first crush. Let's just be honest. I don't know how many of you got to see him in Star Wars when you were a little kid, but I got to see him for the first time in Return of the Jedi. I remember sitting in that seat in the movie theater and just being enamored with Luke Skywalker, because he was beautiful in my eyes. And I loved listening to him talk, and I liked the outfit he wore. I always liked black. So I had a big thing for him. So I still enjoy Star Wars to this day. I even enjoy the new ones, as controversial as that might sound to some people, but I even grew a greater appreciation for the prequels, and I hated them. I mean, I went and saw them all, don't get me wrong, but I hated them. And then I started paying attention to the things that the actors themselves had gone through and the bullying and things like that, and how hard it was for them with these characters that were created not by them but by Lucas. And I went back through it and I watched them again, and I realized that, yeah, they were given the short end of the stick with these characters. They were not given the range that they should have been allowed. And so I have a newfound appreciation for them. And I'm sorry that the Star Wars community has always continuously turned against things that were not just like the originals. Okay, so we did our last purl through the back loops, and now we do our last knit stitch for the pattern, and then our 2 knit stitches for our garter border, which is, kind of looks like a little bit like a ladder. All right, so now we are on row 5. So we're halfway through the repeat. And if you're doing this with bigger needles, it will go much faster than how I'm showing. I'm trying to show you, so you can actually do it and have some practice. So again, start with our knit 2. And this entire row, row 5, is just a purl. We just purl all the way across. Sounds like somebody's got a little bike outside. I hear squeaking. I hear a doggy. Anyway, so going back to why I got it talking about all of that, I tangent very easily, in case you couldn't tell. When you're working on this, I mean, some people like complete silence, and some people can listen to things that they have never heard before and still be all right. The thing is, I can't concentrate on what I'm doing if I've never heard or seen it before. So I tend not to listen to audible books that I don't know, even though I'd like to, because that's the only time I really have time to sit and do those things. So I tend to listen to the same old things. So again, I watch Batman Beyond, and when I need a rest for my eyes, I can look up and know exactly where I am in the scenes. I have all 3 seasons on DVD or on Blu-ray, thanks to my old roommate Jason, who's a wonderful person. Another series that I can put in and just kind of listen to, because I've heard it many, many times and have as a good background, is the 1995 Pride and Prejudice miniseries. It's soothing to listen to the voices that I know, because I can picture what's going on already. I don't have to look at it. And when I need a break from my eyes, well, there's, I know exactly where we are in the scene. I've also found that I can do this to the Sense and Sensibility miniseries from 2008, I think it was. Oh, I don't even remember now. Okay, so make sure you don't purl your last 2 stitches if you do the border like I do. I almost did. I was talking and not paying attention. All right. So here we are. This is row 6 now, and we're on the back side. See, you could do either side for this, I think. I think it looks cute this way or this way. But apparently properly, this is the back side, or front side. Okay, so row 6, it just says knit. So that whole row, just knit away. So that's what we're gonna do. And we're gonna keep talking because it's kind of boring to watch these things. And some of the, I'm not doing any fancy editing or anything. I don't have any music or end cards or anything like that, because I don't think I'll ever get beyond this kind of sit and talk with someone while they're doing a craft thing. I actually find it soothing to watch someone work. It's very relaxing. I do the mini series. So really, if there is something that you can just plug in as a background noise to help you focus, go right ahead. Or if you just like to have the window open and hear the birds, that's also nice too. I used to sit outside when the kids were littler. We lived in an apartment complex that had a pool. And I was watching them. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't just letting my kids, play in the pool and drown. But I would sit in the shade because I can't be in the sun. I had skin cancer a few years ago, so I'm very careful about stupid thing. Internet's, of course, because everybody's on the internet. Internet's been a little kooky. But anyway, I would sit in the shade and I would work on projects while the kids played, and that was my background noise, was the splashing of the water and that sort of thing. And there were lots of people who played with the kids in there. So that's how we met our oldest son, Gabriel. He asked if he could play with him in the pool, and I, of course, said, okay. And I watched him and his then friend play in the pool and keep the kids occupied, and it was just wonderful. I loved it. So I would get a lot of knitting done that way. I knit an entire apron for my husband's grandmother for Christmas while sitting out there in the sunshine. Well, I was in the shade. Okay, so now we are going on to, hi Lolly! We are going on to row 7. Row 7 is, we're going to do, it's slightly different. So I'm going to knit my 2, and then it says to purl 5. So I'm going to purl 5. This is not part of the repeat, so I'm going to purl 5. Okay, there's our purl 5. And then we're going to knit through the back loop the next 3 stitches. So remember, we pull it through. When you're doing teaching videos, it's a little different than when you're doing it on your own. Okay, and then we're going to purl 5. So the repeat is knit through the back loop, 3 stitches, and then purl 5 stitches. That's our repeat across. Okay, so where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 5. I looked at the pattern and forgot to count, and that's not that happens, and so you just go back and count to where you know. So now it's 3 through the back loop, knitting through the black loop. Oh, if you can get it to wake. This is what I get for trying to watch it through the camera and not 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so now we're going to do another 3, knit through the back loop. All right, and purl 5 more. I love the way they spell purl in patterns, P-U-R-L. I don't know why, I just find the lettering soothing. You ever just have something where it's just soothing to look at the way things are done? Maybe it's because it's old-fashioned looking. It speaks about time and patience and a time period when things seemed simpler, but they really weren't any simpler than they are these days. The problems were just different. Come in. And purl 5. And this goes all the way to the end. There is no, you just purl to the last stitch. It should be 5 stitches. We have our last 2 garter. Okay, so now we're on to row 8. We are almost through the repeat. So let's knit 2 for our border and get on with that because I want to get to the crochet stitches. Okay, so now we're going to knit 5, and that is not part of the repeat. That is the beginning of the round or the row. 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we are to purl the next 3 stitches through the back loop and knit 5, and that's our repeat all the way around. So we go through the back loop. Oops, bring your yarn forward, Alyssa, and then we go through the back loop. And if you're thinking, God, you make that look so easy, it's not easy. And realize I also just learned this technique this morning. It was the Knit and Purl Hunter YouTube channel. And they do a great job showing it. So I think I'm going to put a link to that in here, because one, I've used them before to learn stitches, and they're very clear. I really like them. There's a lot of really good YouTubers out there that probably can show and teach a little better than I do, and that's not me looking for compliments. That's merely pointing out that I'm not a professional. I have been doing this a while, but there are people with better setups and clearer lighting that can show things just a little better than I can. All right, so then it's the 3 purl through the back loops. For those of you who are homeschooling and crisis schooling in this time period, I hope your kids are doing well. I hope, I really do pray and hope that your children are not too grieved over the loss of proms and graduations and sleepovers. My oldest is graduating this year, and while we homeschool, I was still planning on a graduation party and pictures and all kinds of things, and that's not going to happen for this kid this year. And I feel bad because he didn't get, those of us who went to public school, oops, yarn forward. We all had, all of our clubs and things like that. And he may not have gotten all the fun things that, high school offers, but he also has been able to focus on his academics. And he was part of a boxing club. He really enjoyed that for a long time. Come on. He and Isaac were actually very good at boxing. And I wished I'd been able to get them into a club here, but they would have had to have stopped going anyway because, the outbreak. But we do have a bag for them in the garage. My internet keeps going out. It's very annoying. But I'm also trying to do a live video. So we're in our last 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. So it's a purl through the back loop the next 3, and then knit the rest of the row. But I figure by the time it all is said and done, the kids will have, I think they'll have learned a few good life skills. And I know that making memories with your kids is actually a good thing. I'm sorry that we all have to go through this. It's never fun. All right, we are on row 9. So this is what our front side is supposed to look like by now. Well, with me, it's with this. I've done the repeat once. This is the second time I'm doing the repeat. We are doing a repeat of row 7. So row 7 was to purl 5, that's not part of the repeat, and then knit 3 stitches through the back loop and then purl 5. So get our garter border. So then we're going to do our plain 5 that has nothing to do with the repeat. 3, 4, 5. All right, so now we knit through the back loop. 1, 2, 3. Bring yarn forward, purl 5. we're going to go through the back loop again 3 times. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back loop 3 times. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're on our last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last 8. So it's just 3 more through the back loop. Knit. Come on, there we go. Purl 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and of course our border stitches, knit. Row 10 is just knit. So basically we're just going to knit straight across. And that will complete us out for this particular stitch, the twisted check pattern. What I might do, I'm going to see how it works, is maybe I might record on the weekend the 2 stitches for the weekend, so we can do a stitch a day. Because I think it's kind of fun. And the last couple weeks we've gotten through some basics on how to cast on. I think I may, what I would like to do is do a couple more basic cast-ons. If you're interested in learning how to sock knit, if you're feeling advanced, I could certainly cast on a pair of socks for y'all and get that going, or a hat. You know, a hat might be better to start with, because everybody wears socks too, but everybody wears hats, and that's a little bit bigger than working with with fine weight yarn and size 1 needles. Okay, so just to reiterate, even though I originally said this was the front, this is the back side. If you see all these stockinette stitches, that means you're on the back side of this pattern. This is the front side of our pattern. You can see there's all these neat little stockinette, almost like little braids, and those are those purl through the back loop and knit through the back loop. It makes these different sort of twists in the yarn. This, when you have a stockinette pattern, it really depends on which side's the front. And in this case, the front side is the reverse stockinette. So that's what this is. This is reverse stockinette. Now, maybe you like this look a little better. And there's nothing wrong with that. You still get kind of these little baskets, these little checks all over, and this is those purl in the back loop. Here's your stockinette. So, I mean, this is a fun little pattern called the twisted check, and I will type that up in the description on the YouTube channel and everything like that. Now, let's talk about crochet. I already kind of, I did I chained 10, or I chained 11, and I did a foundation row of single crochet, 10 of them, and I have 10 double crochets. What I want to show you today is called front post and back post double crochet. It can be single crochet, treble crochet, but I'm going to show it as a double because it works easier. So I'm going to chain my 3, turn it. Now you'll find patterns that'll tell you do a front post single, double, treble crochet. So I'm going to do just a regular double crochet here, okay? But then it tells me to do a front post one. Now your post, this is your post, okay? On a single crochet, that's your post. Double crochet, this is your post. And you're going to do it in the front. What you're doing is you're creating kind of well, it creates a ribbing style of crochet that I've used on the crocodile stitch booties I've made. But to do a front post double crochet, and this works for any kind of crochet, but the double crochet is just easiest to show, is you're going to yarn over like you would to do a double crochet. This is the front, so you want to go in to the back behind it like this. Okay, so you're going from the right to the left behind it. Make sure your yarn is here. You're going to grab a loop and you're going to bring that around. So you have 3. Give yourself a little slack. Okay. Then you're going to double crochet just like you would if you'd gone into the stitch. Okay. Now let's say the next one is supposed to be a back post double crochet. So once again, you're going to go in like this, but instead of going in like this, you're going to go around from the back. Yeah? You're going to go around that post like this. You're going to yarn over. You're going to bring it around. And you're going to try not to lose it. And that is something I have often with the back posts, so I often lose it. So grab it, pull it through. There we go. Yarn over and finish out. See? So let's do a front post double crochet again, and we'll show you what I mean by ribbing. So for a front post, you're going to go right to left, right behind the post, so that the post is in the front post. Pull around. Okay. And then we're going to do a back post. So remember, we're going in like this and pushing the post to the back. You can already kind of see how it's making this kind of stretchy. It looks like ribbing, and it can be a little stretchy. When I make the crocodile booties, they do have some stretch. But they go on your feet, so they have to have a little stretch. All right, so we're going to do that again. So front post is you let the post pop out the front while you come in behind. And then a back post is where you come in and go over that post and push it back. And it is easy to lose the loop, and you know it is easy to do that. It's just yarn. I'm going to do it one more time. Front post, pushing that post out front. And back post, pushing that post to the back. And then as I have one more stitch left, I'm just going to do a regular double crochet. There we go. All right. There we have back post and front post. Now chain 1 and go around. We're going to do a single crochet row. So just single crochet across, because I want to show you what it looks like with a single crochet. Because it can be a little more interesting and difficult to try to do it. I mean, a double crochet is very easy to show. But a single crochet can be a little more difficult. Okay, I'm going to double check my count. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excellent. All right, chain 1 and turn. And then just do a single crochet in that first stitch. Now, if we want to follow kind of the pattern a little bit that we have here, we're going to start with a front post single crochet. We're going to do it just like you did, but you can see here, you got to go in through these smaller holes, right? So here's your front post single crochet. And then, there you go, through there and around. So you're pushing that post back. Oh, come on. And give yourself a little patience, because this is not easy to do. Okay, single crochet. Okay, so front post, we're popping that out. Back post, we're pushing it back. So you're going to go in. Make sure you're getting under the stitches as well. Come on. There we go. They can get a little hung up. Give yourself a little room. Sometimes you lose it. Just grab it again. There we go. Complete the stitch. It's not as nice as the double crochet, and they're usually done with double, or even half doubles. Half doubles work a little bit better. But that is the back post and front post version of crocheting. And I hope everybody enjoyed this. Thank you so much for indulging me and hanging out with me. And I hope everyone has a lovely weekend. And we'll be back on Monday with, I don't know what I'm going to do. If you have any requests, please, please, please put a comment down there if there's something I didn't explain well, or if there is something you really want to learn how to do. Please put that in there and I will do my best to explain it. If you are so inclined. Otherwise, I will also be posting this up on my YouTube channel, so you don't have to try to find it on Facebook if you want to look at it again. And that said, love you all. Take care. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.